the chat here. Just going to give some time for people to kind of join in. Right now, the market is coming down quite a bit. Yeah, right now the market is not doing too good. Right now we do got some price volatility coming within every single crypto. I talked about this yesterday on my live stream. Good morning, Kyle. Good morning. Remember, none of this is financial advice, guys. It's just entertainment purposes only, so make sure you do your due diligence. I got some targets up here on the screen for Bitcoin. Same with the current levels. Also with what we had seen in the past. Pretty big moves. Yeah, we're seeing really huge volume right now. I mean, it's expected though, guys. That is probably the biggest thing right now. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. We are starting to see a little bit of volatility here, so we do got to pay very, very close attention to that. We are getting cooked. If you watched my video yesterday, you had probably seen this coming. Ethereum, that's another one. So if you come here, you kind of take a look at Ethereum. It looks like it's getting closer back down to that 2100. That's probably whenever we'll see some price volatility. But right now, you do got a pretty big move that we have talked about previously. And look at this, even Litecoin. Litecoin is currently tanking as well, 11%. Yeah, open-minded. I do think we're getting closer back down to that $50,000, $60,000 range for sure. Right now, everybody is seeing the same kind of moves that we haven't seen in quite a long time. I mean, if we're being realistic, we haven't really seen this in a long, long time. I still expect some volatility, though. Yeah, there's still a lot of guys in here that's been here for my last live streams back in like early 2025, 2024. But yeah, I'm still pretty active in the Discord. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Right here is where we're going to see a lot of the blood. This is where we're going to see a lot of volatility, should say. Right now, Dogecoin getting ready to drop below that 10-cent range. Had a nice little drop there. Shiba Inu also dropped quite a bit. Solana. We're seeing pretty big moves today. Also, if we take a look at silver and gold is still kind of consolidating where they had their major drops the other day. Big moves coming within the market. Litecoin, though, this is one of the ones that I do think that Litecoin is going to kind of pop off eventually. Back in like 2016 to 2020, they always said Litecoin is like the silver. But a lot of people that's been investing in Litecoin will know that ARK Investments, they're really big into stocks and crypto right now. They've recently purchased a lot of Litecoin, which is pretty good. That is exactly what you should be doing, is preparing yourself for the bear market. That's for sure, because you got the prediction markets and everything right now kind of moving in a similar direction. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help out. Yeah, XRP, though, is really starting to drop here. Hit around that 151. I also talked about that on my video yesterday as well. Going below that 161 would knock us back down closer to the 150s, which we're pretty much there right now. I talked about it with also, I think, Chainlink, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. I still think Bitcoin's going to go lower. We hit that 77,000. We still got big moves coming. Coinbase, I mean, you could use Coinbase Advance. I mean, you should be able to use it on there. But if not, you should try like BTCC, BitUnix. Those are pretty good exchanges as well. See, Marty said that he shorted gold and silver yesterday. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, a lot of people made a lot of money yesterday. I know a lot of people who got liquidated trading gold and silver yesterday, too. They was big money moved around, just like it is in the crypto right now. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart because you guys can see we've dropped quite a bit. Oh yeah. Right now, crypto is taking a big hit. But what a lot of people don't realize with crypto, though, the biggest factor coming into crypto right now is not going to be just the people that's currently in office. It's going to be a lot of the people that's moving in and out from stocks over to precious metals, from precious metals over to the prediction market. You're seeing a lot of investors moving their money around, and sometimes that can take a little while for them to get adjusted to exactly what's going on inside of our market today. If you guys are just now tuning in, please hit that like button and subscribe. Hitting that like button really will help the stream out tremendously. There's 42 viewers and only 5 likes, so make sure you guys do hit that like button. I'm also taking a look at some of the liquidations right now as well. We got tons of liquidations coming in. I expect that, though. That is probably one of the biggest things we have seen in a while. You can also see right now the crypto fear and greed index is still indicating we're in fear, getting closer to that extreme fear. The crypto market cap just dropped below 2.7 trillion over to 2.65 trillion. We haven't been over in this direction, kind of where we're heading, ever since around April of 2025. So we do got some big moves there. Still in Bitcoin season, as you guys can see. The crypto ETF net flow on January 29th, we had around negative $762.6 million in ETFs net flow. That's just on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin dominance right now is 59.5 with Ethereum at 11%. So it's not too bad. Not too bad. But with the spot market right now being down over 7.83% in market cap is huge. That is a pretty substantial drop, guys, as we're getting closer below to where we was at around April of 2025. We haven't really kind of consolidated in this area ever since around 2024, so that's something that you should pay attention to. Right now, within the last hour, we have over $622 million liquidated. $607 million worth of longs liquidated just within the last 60 minutes. Within the last 4 hours, we've already lost over $1.09 billion in 4 hours. Over 356,000 traders have been liquidated. So that's something to kind of watch out for right now, because that's something that's going to impact us on the long term and the short term. But it's coming close. We're coming pretty close here on the market. I still expect big drops. I also want to show you all something here. Let me pull it up. It's going to be regarding Bitcoin on the daily chart. If you can kind of see my screen right here, you'll see that this is 2022, back when Bitcoin was trading around that $30,000 to $50,000 range. You can see the consolidation here, and you can also see the price action that is today. Okay, so using trend analysis, you can kind of see what exactly is going on here. So this is current prices from 100,000 to around where we are today, which is right here. Our target is right around that 74,000. So if you kind of take a look here back in 2022, you can see these patterns are very, very specific to what it was exactly 4 years ago. So you can kind of see we're trading almost identical. You know, you got these ups and down patterns, kind of the consolidation. You can also see the peak above the resistance here, and also back in 22. You see the major drop coming down here, coming up, then back down. That's exactly what you see here as well. So what we see here today. So I say a lot of traders are using this kind of like as a trend. And this is something that could be impacting us here today as well. So that's something you do really got to pay attention to, is the same trend that we was following exactly 4 years ago. This drop from the peak, which would be around that 98,000, would also be around a 50% drop compared to what it was back in 2022. So if you take a look at 2022, we lost around 58% in 81 days. We've lost 23.5% in 17 days so far. So there is a lot of movements that we're still seeing here on the short term that could be impacting all of our cryptos, not just Bitcoin. As Bitcoin dominance is still pretty high and a lot of coins follow Bitcoin. So if you expect Bitcoin to have a big drop, these altcoins could possibly have a bigger drop as well. Let me know what you guys think about that, because that's following a similar trend to what it did back in 2022. That's something that, I've been looking at for quite a while, kind of waiting to share, kind of entering some short trades with it, also looking for good entries and exits on my long-term and short-term positions. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys do hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Let me know what you guys think. Do y'all think we're going to be following that same type of pattern? Because right now I do think we're going to see that. If you take a look at XRP on the daily, we are now getting lower to previous levels. So we are actually lower right now than what we was April of 2025. This is going to be the lowest range, and we haven't been here since 2024 where we are right now. We haven't even wicked. So you guys can see there's big possible moves up on the downside as well. A lot of people think we're going to feel this whole gap here getting closer back down to that 50-cent range. I don't think that we're going to play it out that much. But if we do, that is something to take a look at, as if doing so, I expect Bitcoin to go back down to the 40,000 range. If that would play out like some of these other people are mentioning about XRP going back to around that 50 to 60 cents. Yeah, Fish, man, there's a lot of people that goes off of that same theory as well, with the years where we have about 1 to 2 years of a bearish activity and then a bullish activity coming right behind it. Usually takes roughly almost 3 years. Oh, yeah, we're definitely in a really big bear flag right now. We're seeing it on the weekly and also on the daily. The monthly chart right now don't look good either. If you take a look at the monthly chart on Bitcoin, you guys can kind of see last time we had around 3 candles, had about 6 months of bullish activity, and now 3 months back down. If we go back to like 2022, like what I think is going to happen, this is exactly where we are now, is right around this same level back then. If so, I mean, we could be seeing another, at least 9 months of red activity if we're following that same exact trend that we are done in 2022. Pretty big moves, though. Definitely within the last hour. Ethereum is down around 11%. XRP is down 10%. Shiba Inu is down 9.5%. Solana is down 12%. A lot of cryptos right now are seeing major losses within the market, and that is something that we have to pay attention to. Crow coin is also down 8.5%. I think once the market recovers, coins like BNB, Crow will do pretty good. That'd be good long-term holds as long as their exchanges can hold it. HBAR is also another one. HBAR is not really holding up too well right now. Yeah, we're getting liquidated in pretty big levels last few days. Coming back here, you guys can see $2.65 trillion market cap, which is huge. Bitcoin still currently sitting around that $272 million within the last hour. $177 million in Ethereum, and around $43 million in Solana itself was liquidated. Pretty big numbers within the last 24 hours, $1.61 billion. Pretty big numbers what we're seeing here today. Bitcoin looks like it's wanting to come back down again. If you take a look at the minute chart, you can see there's a lot of support right here, right around this same area where we are right now, kind of bouncing off of it. I'll kind of use this as kind of like a line for leverage to kind of remember as we come back up. Filling up this whole gap here around that 81,000 would have been a clear picture, but we haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, everything is crashing right now. We're still currently in a government shutdown. It's kind of partial, but that should end Monday. Senate voted on it Friday, and it passed, but the House didn't get a vote on it. So that's something that is unfortunate. Right now, gold, silver also tanked. A lot of liquidity is being pulled out of the market. Liquidations are everywhere. Capital's going up and down. You got a lot of AI talk going on right now. A lot of big moves happening within the last few hours. I am still expecting that we see some type of recovery. I think they're going to play the support and resistance here, probably use high leverage, short trades. Definitely with what we're seeing the last few days with Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Solana. All these major coins are seeing big drops. Cardano is another one. Cardano is currently down quite a bit, 10.75%, trading right around that 28-cent range. I think we're also getting closer to the same level where Michael Saylor, he's not going to be profitable on Bitcoin. He's getting super close back to the area where he'll actually be like right at break even. Let me find that number real quick. Oh yeah, Cardano has been super struggling lately. A lot of these coins have. Yeah, let's take a look at Michael Saylor's positions here. Look at this. $56.23 billion is what he has in his Bitcoin reserve. He has a total of around 712,000 Bitcoin as of today. You can see that his average cost is $76,000. We're currently trading right around that $79,000 range. So if we lose roughly around 3% more, he is going to start losing money on his average cost of his Bitcoin purchases. Because you got to think, he was buying loads of Bitcoin around that $100,000 to that $120,000 range that we seen in late 2025. You can see some of his performance in some of his other investments here. You guys would be able to track that online as well. Yeah, he needs to get his average down quite a bit, but you can see, 77,000, and he is currently average cost 76,000. He's cutting it close. He's borrowing a lot of money, and I don't think he's going to be able to withhold a lot of that information. Definitely once he does break his average cost, I think it's going to be harder for him to get funds. Because right now, Bitcoin's almost down 50% from 120,000. Comment down below. Let me know what you all think. I'm hoping that we see some rebound coming soon, but I think right now we're going to play the support and resistance, kind of consolidate. I'm getting a lot of notifications from exchanges, so I say a lot of people's kind of waking up. Also seeing those same notifications looking at crypto, as crypto it has tanked quite a bit today. Meme coins are down pretty bad. Gold, silver's not really moved very much. Chainlink finally dropped below that $10 range earlier. Xrp hitting that 151. That was pretty big. That's what I was thinking it was going to hit yesterday. Looks like we're getting closer back to that same kind of support here on Bitcoin on the 1 minute. I think if we drop down closer below it, we may actually retest that 76,000 according to the 15-minute chart. Looking pretty good, though. We've been steadily on the decline. I think this is going to bring a lot of holders back into crypto. Prediction markets, all that has been on the move. I know he doesn't really have a lot of money right now here on the short term. Definitely to borrow. He's not been getting the same type of information like he used to. Starting to see some big moves here on Bitcoin again. We currently have 57 viewers and only 20 likes, so make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Hitting that like button really does help out the stream. Let me know what y'all think of this crash. Are any of you guys buying or Anybody panic selling? Yeah, stellar lumens is coming down quite a bit as well. On the 4-hour, 4 stellar lumens and the daily chart, you can see it's filling the gap all the way back from October 2024. So you got to think right before the big pump here, we're getting closer back to that same range. I do expect stellar lumens to pull back quite a bit. Stellar lumens pulling back is going to be probably the best thing for us here. XRP, if XRP would follow that same pattern as stellar lumens, we could see back to that $1.20. That $1.20 would be pretty big. Yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of people panicking. Because you can see Bitcoin. If you take a look at Bitcoin, I still expect coming down back to that 65, maybe even as low as that 57,000. The monthly chart on Bitcoin also isn't looking too good. I still think there is a pretty big gap here to kind of follow. The bottom of the moving average as well would hit my target number 2, which is around that 65.2. Hitting that $65,200 range on Bitcoin would also kind of put a lot of altcoins on blast. So I think altcoins like XRP, Stellar Lumen, Shiba Inu, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, all of them will see pretty big moves as well. Yeah, I still think that we're going to see more of a drop. Yeah, I'm still expecting more of a drop. I've been talking about this drop for quite a while, just short-term trading with high leverage. But right now, there's not really a lot of focus on buying spot unless you're trading it just for around 5 to 10% moves. I would love to see XRP get back to that $1.15 range. I'd scoop more up, probably around that dollar range for sure, just so on the next run we'd be able to profit some on a longer term trade. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Wow, looks like Ethereum is struggling here. I would like to see Ethereum get below that $2,200, $2,100 range. Let's see. Yeah, we're still at around $638 million in liquidations in the last hour. $638 million liquidated in 1 hour is crazy. 358,000 traders. Got Bitcoin still holding here. Same with XRP. Shiba Inu is another one. I still think Shiba Inu is going to break down below. I mean, Shiba Inu has really struggled within just the last few years. You can see the volatility. It has some times where it kind of pumps really good, drops again, then pumps really good. I still think in the meme coin season, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Pepe, all of them will still be the go ones. But for now, we are seeing kind of a different movement within cryptos in general. Litecoin right now is struggling right around that $57. If you take a look at the daily on Litecoin, you can see the volatility here. Nice ups and downs, continuous up and down selling pressure. And ever since we've hit this peak right here, when we sold our Litecoin for around $136, we have saved ourselves quite a bit from selling there at the top. Over a 58% loss if I would have held that within just 116 days. But you can see, kind of how Litecoin moves. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of big moves. And it's been like that ever since around 2020 and 2021. Litecoin has hit all-time high of around that 414. I'm still bullish on Litecoin in the long term. I do think it's going to be the silver. People will look at it like it's the silver of the gold. Bitcoin, you can see it's still bouncing right off of that same support that I put about 15, 20 minutes ago on the stream. You can see we're kind of bouncing on it. I think people's going to be trading the support and resistance here. Probably using a lot of high leverage, short-term trades. Very risky, though. Playing like that is very risky. It's definitely not recommended. But I do think that longs will probably take over. We'll probably see a little bit of a jump and then we'll probably see another drop within just the next probably 72 hours. Yeah, Zcash ain't doing as good either. Zcash ain't doing too good for a lot of different reasons. A lot of stuff on X happened with Zcash. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do check out BTCC, the link down below in the description. You get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit. Also, bonuses up to $10,055 per user and 40% lower trading fees. So make sure you do come and join the link down below. I would love to see XRP pop off, but I think right now with the whole market, it's being dragged down with a lot of these other cryptos. We're going to probably see something like this, kind of where we keep bouncing, either leg back down, or what we're going to see is kind of like this, where we kind of just consolidate and then jump back up closer back to this 80,000, then maybe retesting this 82,000, which would be a good resistance. That's where a lot of the liquidations would come down, and then that's whenever we would see this final drop back down to 77,000. Solana's also seeing a similar move to that, as you can see. I do think once it does come down, it'll probably get closer to that $100 range. Once it breaks that $100 range, I think it's going to free fall from there. Yeah, Michael Saylor, he's cutting it close to his average cost. He's only up 3% on his total Bitcoin purchases. That's why entry matters so much. Like, you got to really have a good entry when it comes to this. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Hitting that like button really does help out the stream. It also helps the community grow. Yeah, I do too. I do think it's going to mimic LTC a lot. Yeah, I would love to see Litecoin really pop back off. I remember the day it went to over $400. Same with Ethereum Classic. If you take a look at Ethereum Classic, at one point it hit $176. I remember when that happened. It was a major squeeze back in May of 2021. But we also had similarities too back then as well. May of 2021, Litecoin peaked around that $420 range. Really, really big moves. Right now, you can kind of see XRP is doing the same thing as what I mentioned on Bitcoin. I think we're getting kind of closer back to this range where we're going to make a move. We're either going to drop below this support, head back down below that 77,000, or we're going to try to retest that 80, probably that 85 here. I'll put a mark on my next ones, my next targets here on the short term. These are short-term moves, probably just support and resistance that people's using for leverage trading. Right now, you're also seeing a lot of people getting liquidated. So I say a lot of people's like waking up, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. We currently have 86 viewers and only 26 likes. So make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. A lot of people that's holding, I don't think, is exit liquidity. I mean, it's going to be something similar to like how we seen back in 2017, 2018, 2021, 2022. It's just a short-term bear market. Looks like Ethereum just broke below that 2,400 again. I think it's going to have really big price action around that 2370. Trump coin has been struggling ever since it launched. It's been pretty much bearish every single month. A lot of people lost big money on that Trump coin. Take a look back at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be the big one here to watch. Bitcoin's going to be the big mover to tell us what exactly is going to happen next. You ain't sold nothing in 12 years. That's a lot. It's a long time. That really is a long time if you think about it. I don't really know what that is, RO. I don't really know what that is, so. Yeah, right now traders are the ones making the real big money here on the short term. They're making the biggest amount of money. But that's to be expected with any kind of crypto market. Like the prediction market's volume has slowed down quite a bit. Also, their searches and also their installs have too. But that's very similar because the stocks and metals are currently the only thing really going up. Like, I really do think it's crazy that silver dropped as much as it did. You know, coming all the way from that $121 down to, what was it, $74? That is huge. That's a pretty big movement. That took it all the way back down to below the moving average just within one day. If you take a look at the monthly chart on it, our silver position has been going up tremendously. Yeah, Litecoin, Bitcoin, they're all doing the same. They're all still trying to see if we're going to break above, getting closer back to that 82,000. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Hitting the like button really does help out the stream. It also helps the community grow. Yeah, everybody is loving this dip. You know, whenever I first got into the crypto market, you would have days where you would pump 5 to 15%. You would have days where you would dump 10 to 15%. So you got to think about that. Like, you know, this is kind of like a normal day to some people. Oh yeah, yeah. Whenever Coinbase and like all these other crypto exchanges started kind of handing out uh, gold futures, silver futures, and also being able to purchase on their platforms, that's usually that's a top. That's what I would call top. But that's something we've seen multiple times. Coinbase will list like a meme coin, and like everybody just knows after that point to short it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's actually like that. Yeah, I honestly think 2019 is pretty good too. If you think about 2019, getting in around that time, so you've been in basically 2 bull runs. So you kind of learn how the market is over time. That's what a lot of people miss out on. They come into the market way too fast. They follow the money once the money is already in, and then retail gets put up at the top, so it pumps a little bit more, and then the institutionals just profit on them. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is just entertainment purposes only. So make sure you do your own due diligence. This is a really good time is whenever you do get rich. It is going to be whenever you have a better average cost. Like if you take a look at Michael Saylor's positions, you can see that where he's bought, you know, at the peak, stuff like that, his average cost is getting super close. Like he's up like 2 billion, but he is super close to being in the red. And that is somebody who's been investing in Bitcoin, you know, for a decade. He's been in crypto, I think, ever since. I think he said it was 2016. See, XRP's doing a similar move, just kind of consolidating. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Same with Solana. Solana below the $100 range will probably be super bad for meme coins. Chainlink is another one. I know a lot of people who's loading up on Chainlink. Chainlink is definitely good if you want, good returns if the market does come back with stability. If you guys are just now tuning in, hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know what you all think down below. Let me know if you think that XRP is going to go back to that $2 range or if it's going to go back to that $1 range. Right now we're trading at $1.56. I do think we're going to see another big pullback coming on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. I think altcoins are going to start to see the biggest drops. A lot of the crypto market is saturated. A lot of people that was in crypto market went over to metals and they went over to the prediction market just for the time being, as those were starting to see tons of volatility and volume. Joe, I really think that he's just basing it off of, knowledge. He's trying to accumulate as much as he can no matter what the price is. His end game is probably to be able to give his investors something back in return. But at the same time, I really do think that Michael Saylor he would have done better if he would have took profits, honestly. I think him buying the top was probably not a smart thing to do. Maybe 10, 20 years down the road, he may become very wealthy due to it. But right now, from like a trading standpoint, I would have never made that same decision as he did to hold for long term. Something short term I understand, but he's the type that he's trying to accumulate all the Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin one day just crashes, that's when I think Michael Saylor is really going to realize that he's doing his own Ponzi scheme. Because right now, if you take a look at Michael Saylor, he's only currently up $1.9 billion. But, I mean, if Bitcoin goes down another 4%, he will be in the red. So if the cost of Bitcoin drops below 76,000, that means Michael Saylor's average investment in Bitcoin is now in the red. Because he was buying at 120,000, 125,000 when Bitcoin had hit all-time high. As you can see, he was buying, early back in 2020, but he was not accumulating as much as he did back in the bull run this year, back in 2024. That's whenever he really started to buy into crypto. That's why his average cost is so high, because he was pretty much buying right at the top. Liquidations are still currently sitting at 1.6 billion in 24 hours. Over 357,000 traders have been liquidated. The largest single liquidation order happened on Hyperliquid for Ethereum, worth right around $13.38 million. Within the last hour, over $540 million have been liquidated. Has anybody in here actually bought the dip, or are they ordering more shorts or longs? Yeah, a lot of the times at the top, he can kind of sell investors that it's going to go higher. And I think that's what he does. But, in before, he had a business back in the early days before he really got started on, social media. It was similar to a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, that's exactly, Joe. That's how I look at it. I think he'll have to sell some of the stonk that he has. Yeah, once he does sell, I think that's going to be the downfall. I think that's when people really start panicking. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really helps out the stream. We have 130 viewers and only 39 likes. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Oh yeah, a lot of people right now are starting to see major drops in their positions. You got to think, most people that's been holding ever since 126,000, if you have bought within just the last little bit, let's say around this area, the last 38% of the actual Bitcoin price, if you bought anywhere near there, your currently position now is in the red. This is why most traders lose, most holders lose. You just can't let, psychology come into play. You can't let yourself, panic sell, FOMO in, stuff like that. I do think we're going to see a bigger price drop, though. Right now, we're just on a government shutdown, and it's just very short term. I think you got a lot of people kind of riding that same train as well. Yeah, Ethereum is struggling right here. Same with XRP, just consolidating. I'd like to see us kind of push back to that 82,000. Liquidate some of the big shorts that's been put in with high leverage. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, a lot of people is still dollar cost averaging. But that's a good strategy. That's what a lot of people don't realize is DCAing can be good, but the more you DCA, the longer that you need, or maybe the more risk that's it's going to take. Yeah, and I say a lot of people is because I've received like probably 20 notifications on most of my exchanges just about the drop, and with everybody being liquidated right now, almost everybody I guarantee is probably looking at crypto, seeing why everything is down roughly 10% just within the last few hours. Yeah, Homestead, you just got to sometimes kind of just time your entry and your exit. That is probably the biggest thing to kind of take a look at is seeing what is causing you to enter a trade or enter a position to buy for the long term or the short term. And are you using like psychology into play, like FOMOing, panic selling? Are you coming in because that's where everything is pumping? If something pumps, is that when you buy? You got to think of stuff like that. That is really going to be a key factor in the long game. Definitely, if you're looking to stay in crypto a long time, that's something that you really have to take a look at is your entries, your exits, and what is causing you to enter trades. Strategy is the best factor you can have. Even if you're holding just for long term, like Michael Saylor, his average cost is we go down another 2-3%, he's in the red. He's been investing in Bitcoin for a long time. Yeah, I still think crypto has a lot of room to grow. I mean, a $2.6 trillion market cap isn't really that much. Like gold's market cap is like 10x crypto's market cap almost when it was at the peak. Yeah, you got to just kind of flow with the strategy, and you got to flow with how the market's moving. But crypto market, I will say, is very volatile. That's where a lot of people they get in, they really start to panic or learn that they have uh, like an instinct to buy whenever it's pumping and to sell when it's dumping. You got to have a strategy of your entries and your exits. That's where I see a lot of people. That's where they struggle. Remember, none of this is financial advice, guys. I am not a financial advisor. It's just entertainment purposes only. I'm just a guy that does technical analysis on cryptos. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe as it really does help out the channel. Right now, crypto market cap is 2.6 trillion, currently down around 8% within 24 hours. Bitcoin liquidation is currently $237 million, which is huge. Over 1.6 billion has been liquidated in 24 hours. 357,000 traders have been liquidated. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do come and check out BTCC with my link down below. Also got BitUnix down there, so make sure you guys do come and check it out. If you do join, you can join my private Discord just for free. You just got to let me know within the Discord that you did join with my BTCC or my BitUnix link, and I'll grant you full access. Yeah, it looks like we're getting closer here on Bitcoin. I'm going to zoom in as we get closer. I would like to see us drop below this support. Right now, we are looking like we're dropping some on support here. Yeah, I still think that we need a lot more information on crypto. Like, taxes, that's something that everybody struggles with. Definitely if you're in the United States, taxes on crypto, it can be a pain. I know some of these exchanges are now finally starting to do the 1099 DAs, which will be super helpful for tax purposes. But like trading cryptos and stuff, it can be a pain. Yeah, I honestly think Bitcoin could easily drop, Joe. Like just like anything can really go bankrupt. That's how I see it. I see like any investment, it can pump or it can dump. I don't look at it as it only goes up or long term it's going to be successful. You don't really know that. So long term, that's kind of what I look at. We currently have 134 viewers and only 48 likes, so make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah, right now whale activity is pretty high, but I think right now we're getting a lot of liquidations from retail. Right now, I think the biggest move is from retail. Yeah, you gotta understand. Are you gonna be holding long term or short term? That's why sometimes you have to just wait it out. Sometimes if you're entering a market, definitely during like crypto winter or the time where it's like 2 to 3 years of a bear market, you just gotta wait until the next pump. Definitely if you're looking to hold long term. But a lot of people now they're getting into these markets and they're trading. They're trying to trade it, and they haven't really learned to invest yet. And you can tell it because that's how a lot of them get liquidated, or that they'll go too high on leverage too soon without a really good entry or exit position. That is very true, XRP. Yeah, I remember those 50-cent days. Those weren't actually too long ago. That's what people don't realize. About 2 years ago, XRP was 50 cents. I remember when XRP was like a dime. You could get XRP for a dime. Those were the good days. That was like 2016. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, this chart only goes back until 2023. Let's go back on Bitcoin here. Still with Bitcoin, guys, you got to understand that movement that we've seen back in 2022 versus now is going to be huge. If you really take a look at this position, let's go to the daily. It looks better on the daily. Right here, if you take a look at the daily chart, so this is the current position, what it looks like on the daily. And then this is what it looked like in 2022 when Bitcoin was roughly around $50,000 to $30,000 range. So if you look at it, you see the drop, very similar to how we are now. You see the same kind of position, the up and down trading here. And then you kind of see it peak right above the resistance. You see that here. And you see it here. It breaks right above this level, barely enough to hold. And now you're seeing it kind of come down just like it did back in 2022. This looking almost identical to how it did in 2022. So using trend analysis, you can see that, there is still a possibility that we're going to see more of a drop if it continues to follow the same exact pattern that we've seen from the all-time high in 2021 and 2022. So this is kind of following the same type of pattern that we've talked about with all of the cycles, where it's like 2 to 3 years of bear activity, 1 year bullish activity every 4 years. If you go back 4 years from now, that's 2022. So if you think about it, we're looking very, very similar to kind of how we did back in 2022. So I do expect that, we're going to see more of a drop. And that at the end of the day, that's going to be what really matters. It's going to be the good entry and exit point, also knowing what moves that are upcoming. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin is trying to retest that support. Oh, yeah. With the government shutdown, you got to think, too, that happened on Friday. So you got to think, Monday, well, more than likely the government is going to reopen back up when the House can vote on it. The Senate voted on it Friday, but the House was not in to be able to vote. So House votes on it Monday, so more than likely the government shutdown will be lifted on Monday. That'll probably cause a short-term pump. Currently have 157 viewers and only 51 likes. That means over 100 of you guys have not hit that like button yet. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really helps out the stream. It helps the channel. It helps me to be able to continue to do this. So make sure you do come and check that out. And hit that like button. I'm not really for sure on AMC. I haven't really touched AMC stock in a long time. I used to trade it a lot back whenever it had the short squeeze back in, I think it was 2021, 2020 maybe. But it's been a pretty long time. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin is going to get closer back to this support. I would hate to see it kind of drop back below that 77,000, but I do think it's getting super, super close. Right now, Litecoin is trading at 58.11. Chainlink is also below that $10 range again. Dash has been dropping. It's pretty much did the triangle shape back here again, more than likely getting closer back down to that 37. Crowcoin is another one. Crowcoin had its nice little pump to 39 cents, but it's been dropping the last few days. You can see just within the hour chart, a lot of these cryptos right now are looking super, super bearish, dropping down to levels where they haven't been in over a year. So we're pretty much losing all the gains that we have seen within the last 365 days. Even Trump coin, you can see Trump coins come down quite a bit. Cardano's another one, down 11% here. You got H-bar. H-bar has been pretty bearish. It's dropped quite a bit ever since it peaked the other day. About a year ago, it's dropped over 78%. H-bar has. It's been looking pretty bearish. It's one of them coins that does pretty good within the bull market for good returns. But in the bear market, it really does see a massive drop coming right behind it. But yeah, it's good. Definitely if you got a pretty high entry on XRP, you know, getting it near this level would be decent. But just got to understand that this market could easily see more of a drop. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to drop below this support here on Bitcoin. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so we can kind of see it a little bit better here. Because you got to think, you know, we could easily rebound right off of this same position. But I would love to see it get closer back to that 82,000. Yeah, right now everything is looking pretty good. Oh, yeah. It's looking like we're starting to drop below this support. I would like to see a massive drop coming right now. I'd like to see it come down below that 77,000. That would probably cause XRP to drop back down to that $1.51. Ethereum would probably hit below that 20, 30, 70 here. Cardano, roughly around the same kind of area. H-bar might see a big drop coming behind it as well if it continues. I don't know for the ones that's just now tuning in, but XRP could see it come back down to that $1.51 again. Definitely if Bitcoin continues here. Ethereum just had a pretty big sell, it looks like, on the whale activity. I do think long term we're going to see good activity within the crypto market, guys. We just got to understand that short term we're going to see these similar moves like we have seen in 2022, 2018, and 2012. Same with 2017. 2017 was a bad time too. Currently, I have 151 viewers and only 65 likes. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. It also helps the community grow and allows me to continue to do this. Also, make sure you guys hit that notification bell. That notification bell will notify you when I go live or post a video. Yesterday, I posted a video indicating that this big drop was going to happen, that XRP was going to hit around $1.51, around 76,000 Bitcoin, and around 2,300 Ethereum. And I've got a pretty big drop on it. We also did pick up some future trades. We also did pick up some moves and also found some more trends here on the short term. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do check out BTCC, the link down below. If you guys do join any of the links down below in the description, as in be it Unix, BTCC, any of those exchanges, you can get access to my private Discord for free and also my indicator. The indicator is updated throughout the months, and it's been something that I've been using ever since around 2021. You guys can get it just by joining the exchanges with the link down below in the description. If you do use the exchanges that's in the description, you'll also get a lot of bonuses, trading rewards, and so forth. So make sure you do come and check them out, the link down below. Look at Bitcoin, guys, getting ready to drop below that 78,000 here. Getting super close. Also, it looks like Ethereum's getting closer back to that 2370. We got the government shut down right now. The government will only be shut down for a little bit longer. More than likely Monday, the House will be able to vote on it, and House should pass it. The Senate pass it, no problem. Yeah, right now you do have a lot of liquidations happening still, though. A lot of short-term investors are starting to pick up long positions, trying to trade the support and resistance, along with the Fibonacci. A lot of people's trading the Fibonacci levels right now, too. That's another one. Bitcoin's at 78,000. Looks like Pepe coin down 12%, Cardano 11, Dogecoin 12. Ooh, looks like XRP just had a pretty big sell. Oh yeah, if you know how to dollar cost average, if you also know how to tax harvest, it can be super beneficial. You know, learning the trade a little bit is also something that is really recommended. You got to learn how to trade, you know, each market and learn how each position can make a good entry or exit position depending on what exactly is happening today. I actually make more money in a bear market than I do a bull market, because a lot of the times in the bear market, that's where a lot of traders or new retail investors, they come in, they throw their money into it, and they get liquidated super fast because they don't really do the due diligence of what they're entering and exiting. You'll see it all the time. You'll see new traders coming in getting liquidated very quickly. If you are just now tuning in, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Let's try to get this over 100 likes. Currently at 75. Got 144 viewers. Comment down below. Let me know what you all think. Do y'all think we're going to be bullish or bearish today? I still think right now we are going to be pretty bearish. Yeah, we're having a lot of liquidations just within a 24-hour period. I'd like to see Ethereum kind of pop off here. Yeah, I think everybody needs an Ethereum discount. Well, if you think about Ethereum in the long term, if you think about the monthly of it, you know, if you've invested in Ethereum within probably the last 3 years, you're pretty much in, you know, negative. You pretty much have a negative investment. That's crazy to really think about that. That, you know, back in 2021, a lot of investors that picked up Ethereum are currently still holding their position and they're currently still red. You know, but just because it's not really had that big pump, breaking above its all-time high and staying above the all-time high. It's not having a new consolidation area. The open interest is coming up a little bit. The crypto market cap is now 2.63 trillion, so it's dropped roughly around a 0.5% just within the last hour. This is the lowest market cap that we've had in a while. The yearly low is 2.42 trillion. So we're getting super close to the yearly low of the crypto spot market cap. That's roughly around 2.63 trillion right now. 2.42 trillion will be the lowest that we have seen within the last 365 days. A lot of cryptos are hitting that level already. If you take a look here, you can see that $1.46 billion have been liquidated in 24 hours. Over 338,000 traders been liquidated in just 24 hours. That is a lot of people losing pretty big money. You know, that's a lot of retail that's come in that's probably trying to leverage for the first time and getting liquidated. If you think if you got a 5x long yesterday on Ethereum, you would be liquidated today. Just because how much it has dropped. Same with Bitcoin, same with Trump coin, Dogecoin. A lot of these cryptos have seen a pretty big drop. A lot of longs got liquidated. Shorts are profitable. But I do expect bigger drops coming into the crypto market. I do think Bitcoin is going to come down a little bit more. Same with Ethereum and XRP. We're going to see a short-term pump, guys. You know, this ain't just going to be a straight down thing. This is something that does take a lot of time. I don't really know what that coin is, Anthony, to really be able to speak on it. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help out the community. Also helps the channel grow. Oh yeah. Accumulating can be a very good strategy, but in the short term, it can also be impactful. Definitely, if you don't have the psychology behind the investment, or thinking of it in a long term game. A lot of people that they look too short term, and then when something happens big short term, that's what causes them to panic, or they're just over leveraged, or they put way too much into an investment. Also, if you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Also helps the community grow. Also, make sure you come and check out BTCC, the link down below in the description. Sign up using my link, and you'll be able to get 10% bonus on first-time deposits, $10,055 in trading rewards, also 40% lower trading fees, which can be super beneficial. Also, you can get access to my private Discord and my indicator, as you see on the screen, that has a lot of functions to it. With the indicator, guys, you do get so much information into it. You can change the EMAs, you can change colors, Bollinger Bands, MACD signals. There's a lot of different things that you can do. It can auto support resistance for you, do trend lines, trend breaks. You can make it auto plot Fibonacci extension now. There's so many customizable things that you can do with this indicator all in one, and you don't have to use the TradingView Premium. If you use two indicators on TradingView regular, it tells you need TradingView Premium. With the indicator, you can customize and change the indicators just exactly how you like them or how you want them without having to pay the premium. Bitcoin is still trying to get above that same short-term resistance there, which I think is going to hold. But at the same time, I do think we're going to consolidate. You know, it's been about an hour now. We're kind of just chilling around this same level. A lot of traders have been kind of looking at it, and I say we're going to see a sudden move sometime either later today or after the daily candlestick closes. Once the daily candle closes, I think that's when we're going to see the next big move. Because if you take a look at the daily chart or even the 4-hour chart here on XRP, you can see that we've been swinging it down ever since around $2.08. That, you know, with the moving averages, the Bollinger Bands, everything is indicating still a bearish activity here as we come down closer to the 151s. If we wouldn't have sold that 4-hour position, we would be at over a 25.65% loss just within 12 days. And the hour chart looking pretty good as well. I do think the hour chart is also indicating a further price action on the downward spiral as we come down closer to 78.4 on Bitcoin, Ethereum 2400, and XRP at that $1.58 again. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are kind of riding the same type of percentage moves. It seems like XRP is wanting to move a lot less than Ethereum, but where Ethereum's finally starting to kind of consolidate, you can see Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP moving in similar percentages points, which I do think that we're going to get closer back to that 82,000 on the short term to liquidate some of these short leverages that we do have currently inside of the market. It's kind of getting a little bit overextended. If we do see another drop, I say more than likely the people who's picking up longs on this dip will be liquidated once again. But if you're thinking about it from a standpoint of maybe a month or two from now, I do expect Bitcoin to be below that 76,000 where Michael Saylor's average cost is. With some of these moves, it does take time. You know, this ain't something that just happens very quickly. You got to just kind of get your entry and your exit just right. The timing of the entry and exit is key for something like this. Definitely if you're trading shorts, longs, or even spot trading these positions. A lot of these cryptos are going down quite a bit. once we do see people start getting their taxes back and everything like that, that could be something that could be injected into the crypto market. With gold being at all-time high, silver being all-time high, you're seeing a lot of traders move market to market. The prediction markets first started to take a lot of volume from the crypto market. You could tell that just by the numbers and the analytics from Google, X, YouTube, search histories, all kinds of stuff like that can kind of indicate, where retail investors are moving. But within the last few days, even crypto has dropped quite a bit. Same with prediction markets, as metals volume has really picked up within just the last 30 days. So if you really think about that, retail is really right now just chasing the volume and the money. So once the volume starts to come back into crypto, we're going to see those parabolic runs, just like we see in stocks, metals, the prediction markets, all of a sudden. Yeah, you got to think with an investment, are you long-term or are you short-term? That's something that'll give you a good little indication of what could be coming. Yeah, taking a look at the 1 minute chart on Bitcoin, very similar pattern, just kind of steady on the downturn. Yeah, being long term is good. I've been long term on crypto for a long time. I still think crypto is going to be bullish in the long term. I do think we're going to get some regulations on it eventually, though. I think it's going to need to have a little bit more regulations on it. I mean, because like losing 10 to 15% of like your 401k or something in just a matter of 24 hours would be crazy. I know there's IRAs now, 401ks for crypto. There's ETFs now. A lot of the bullish stuff that we waited on for, a decade now has finally coming into play. Once we get those regulations, I think it's going to be a lot more clearer picture of where crypto is going to go. But with the market right now, I do think that, regulations would be good, because you got a lot of people like meme coins, you got rug coins, all those stuff. You're having presidents coins, dropping 95% within a year, which is pretty big drops and can be substantial to a lot of investors. I don't really ever trade that coin anymore, Anthony. I haven't really traded that ever since it first peaked, like a year or two ago, probably. So I haven't really even looked at that coin in a long time. If you're just now tuning in, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. It also helps the community grow. If y'all haven't, make sure you do check out my Twitter and my TikTok. So make sure you guys do check that out. The link down below. I do post on X, Threads, almost every single day. Yeah, right now the market is doing very well. I got big expectations for Ethereum and Xrp in the long term. I mean, you got to think, Anthony, smaller cap coins will have the most return percentage possible, but I do think any of the cryptos right now would be a good one for the long term. As you kind of go out to like smaller cap coins, you don't really know how long they're going to really make it. A lot of the top 10 coins currently inside of the crypto market have been inside of the crypto market for almost a decade, if not longer. So they've had their stability and shown its strength of, holders, volume, volatility, and so forth. So it really depends on what kind of percentage gains are you expecting. Yeah, P Hat, that's exactly how I'm kind of looking at it. I think we will see a short-term pump, and whenever that comes, that will liquidate some of the longs. and it'll liquidate some of the shorts. And I think some of those longs will eventually get liquidated again, definitely if they use greed. Definitely if they're playing with greed. That's what's happening with a lot of shorts lately. They've been big profit. They're not really setting a stop loss or a take profit. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing a very, very quick rebound, and it's wiping out those shorts and longs very, very quickly. I don't really know much about Stronghold. No problem, Anthony, anytime. Does look like Bitcoin's wanting to get below that 78,000 here again. Yeah, a lot of coins long term, you really got to think about, the success of the coin. Like Bitcoin, the government's getting into it, stuff like that. So, in the long term, it should do good as long as the government keeps backing it. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. It's just entertainment purposes only. Let's try to get this stream up to 100 likes. Currently 144 viewers and only 90 likes. So make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Comment down below. Let me know what your all's predictions are for crypto in general, also Bitcoin. Right now, we are seeing a big drop on Bitcoin, which I think altcoins will more than likely follow behind. Look at that. Pretty big drop here, 77.5. Pretty big drop. Take a look at XRP. XRP looks like it's getting ready to see a pretty big drop as well. Same with Ethereum breaking below that 2370. Bitcoin still staying below that 78.3 here. Looks like we're getting closer back to that 77,000. The 15-minute chart does look super rough on Bitcoin. Looks the same way on Ethereum and XRP. We're watching Bitcoin as Bitcoin is moving first, as Ethereum, XRP, and all these other altcoins are starting to see pretty big drops. You guys can kind of see the numbers here on the right-hand side of my screen. Look at these. A lot of them are down over 10 to 15% just within 24 hours. These are pretty big drops. A lot of holders are currently losing quite a bit of money. So I do expect bigger drops here. Let's take a look at the 30-second chart. I mean, it'll give us an extra candlestick as we start to see if we're going to drop below here on the short term. Yeah, I do think a lot of people are wanting to get it below that 76,000 average cost for Michael Saylor. Yeah, we're having massive drops. Looks like Solana back to 102. Right now, we're just watching the numbers as the numbers fall again. Yeah, they're wanting it to go pretty low. Also, for the new ones tuning in, make sure you check out the link down below in the description. Join BTCC. You get up to a 10% bonus on first-time deposits. You get up to $10,055 trading rewards per user, 40% lower trading fees. If you do join with any of my exchange links with the links down below in the description, you do get access to my private Discord, also my trading indicator that you do see on the screen. All you got to do is just join the Discord, and you'll be able to get access to it. Just let me know down below if you guys do that. As Bitcoin is getting closer back to that 77,000 here. Ethereum, pretty big drop. XRP's not dropped as hard as what I thought, but it's getting there. This is getting to be a pretty substantial drop, guys. I would like to see us kind of go a little bit quicker here on the short term. Bitcoin backing up. Yeah, definitely dropping here. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah, Ethereum right now is really the big one. They're seeing some pretty big red candlesticks. Yeah, everybody's saying it's a rigged game. It is kind of true, you know. Currently got 160 viewers and only 89 likes. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Hit that notification bell. Oh no. Yeah, we bounced right off that 77,000 again. So let's go back to the minute chart. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. Just from here to here. Like you can see, we might be bouncing off of that 77,000, and then they may try to pump it very quickly to that 82,000. What that would do is that would liquidate a lot of the shorts, and that would also cause a lot of people that's got shorts to kind of sell out of their position very quickly. That would be trading the support and the resistance here on the short term. I mean, it's very possible we could see a short-term reversal, but that doesn't guarantee a long-term reversal. You got to think, so whenever we see these big drops, you're going to see that reversal coming back up on the short term. A lot of the times, traders, whenever they're liquidation hunting, trying to get some liquidity, what they'll do is continue to kind of knock it down. So right here, pretty big drop. I wonder if it's going to hold on the 1 minute. Some pretty big well activity. Looks like I'm starting to get some notifications again. So I say more traders will probably start looking at their portfolios here. Yeah, look at that. 76,000. Pretty big drops. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more notifications now, so I say we're getting ready to see some big price action. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is huge, guys. This is huge. Let's go back to the 30-second. Bitcoin down 9%. Ethereum's down 15.7. XRP's $1.53 now. We're starting to see kind of like a reversal wick. We hit around that 75.6, dropped very, very quickly here. We might actually get closer back down to that 75 then. Yeah, a lot of alerts are starting to pop up. That's what I talk about. That's whenever a lot of retail investors do come back into the market. That's whenever they start looking. That's when longs start to happen. Like, look at this. Somebody probably ordered a huge long right around that 75.6, and now look at it. Currently, it's 77,000. Going to the 1 minute, you can see the 1 minute candle is also trying to wick back up. Like I said, they're trying to get some liquidity. So if we take a look at right here, you see his position is only up now $842 million. His average cost is $76,000. So Michael Saylor a minute ago was in the red. So his position was actually in the red for his average cost of his Bitcoin. And he holds over 712,000 Bitcoin. It's worth over 55 billion US dollars. Yeah, I think eventually the pump will come soon here on the short term. We're going to see it kind of bounce back up, liquidate some of these shorts. And for the people that's not taking profits on their shorts, will probably either get liquidated or they'll have to break even or take just slight profit compared to what they was if they were trading on like a minute to 5 minute intervals. Yeah, it had a pretty big bounce off that $1.50. Look at that. That's what I mean. Liquidation very, very quickly on some of the shorts and some of the longs now. As people's entering and exiting trades, this is exactly what happens. This is kind of what I was talking about, waiting to see what would happen here. You can see we're making that V-shaped recovery. It's got a V-shaped recovery. We'll get at least closer to that 79,000. We already wicked right above that 78.1. So, I mean, getting closer to that 79,000 wouldn't take very much at all. That's why you got to be very, very precise whenever you're entering and exiting trades, kind of predicting the next moves with the liquidity, also with how the market is moving in general. I'm going to try to see if we can see any of the big liquidations here. So right now, the crypto market cap is 2.6 trillion, down 9.49% within 24 hours. The lowest this year was 2.42 trillion, so we're only around $180 billion away. If we take a look at CoinGlass, you can see that we have now $2.54 billion in liquidations in just 24 hours. 409,000 traders have been liquidated. Within the last hour, we have liquidated over $1.14 billion worth of longs and $28 million worth of shorts. So you can see within 24-hour period time, $2.4 billion worth of longs have been liquidated. Shorts, only $134 million within a 24-hour period. But this number has jumped over $1.1 billion just in that short-term move that we just saw, where we had that big drop and then that reversal on the upside, where if you wasn't really paying attention or if you didn't have a specific stop loss or take profit, you would more than likely got liquidated, or you wouldn't have been able to get all those gains from that quick drop, just with how the market moved, just like how I was saying before it actually happened. Right now, a lot of people are trading this. This is where the key entries are. If you take a look at XRP, $1.50 to that $1.60 just within 4 minutes. 4 minutes. From here to the top there is an 8% move within 1 minute. 1 minute gained 8% back. Just like that. Very quickly. If you would have picked up a short down here and it was a 10x leverage, you would almost be liquidated. So that's why leverage, all that stuff is huge. That's why the liquidations right now are through the roof. Let's take a look at XRP. Right now, everything is getting thrown off. Same with Ethereum. Ethereum's trying to break above this 2370 that we had seen just about an hour ago. Yeah, I would love to see it go back to 75,000. But the liquidations within an hour of over 1.2 billion is crazy. 409,000 traders got liquidated today. But listen here, the craziest part is somebody got liquidated. Look at this. Somebody got liquidated for $222.65 million. That is huge. $222.65 million was a single liquidation order that happened on Hyperliquid. Somebody just lost $222.65 million. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. It also helps the community grow. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell as well. Yeah, the shorts on crypto is heavy right now. But somebody just got liquidated for $222.65 million. That is huge. One order. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I still think we're looking super close here on Ethereum. Same with Bitcoin, XRP. Everything's looking pretty good. That pretty big drop probably got everybody going. Tons of people are probably now looking at their wallets. They're also looking at their crypto moves. I think right now, long positions are going to be the good thing to go to for just the short term. It all depends on the amount of leverage that you use. Remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is just entertainment purposes only. I'm just a guy that does technical analysis on stocks, predicting, support, resistance, Fibonacci moves, create indicators, and so forth. Yeah, they are deals everywhere right now. But it's crazy to think that the largest single liquidation order happened on Hyperliquid just a few minutes ago. Somebody had lost 222 million US dollars. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do check out BTCC with my link down below. You guys can join and get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit above 500 USDT. So if you put in 5,000, they'll give you 500. Extra bonus is up to $10,055 per user. 40% lower trading fees. Definitely during this time when you're trading back and forth, doing super well. The 40% lower trading fees and the bonuses kind of help you with the spread and also helps you with any fees that you may encounter. They do have lower trading fees, which is super beneficial compared to like Coinbase, Kraken, Crypto.com, and all of them. So make sure you do come and check us out with the link down below. If you do join with BTCC, BitUnix, Crypto.com with my link down below in the description, by using my link, I will give you private Discord access and access to my TradingView indicator that you do see on the screen that does all of it for you. I still think that we have a big drop left, guys. I still think that we're going to see a bigger drop probably within the next few weeks to months. These moves can happen very quickly, but they can also take a lot of time. That's what a lot of people kind of forget about is some of these moves that you see within some of these cryptos, they take years. Some can take months. Some may take a day or two. It really just depends. That's why you got to understand how the entries work, catalysts, all that stuff. That's why I still think I am super bullish on crypto in the long term, but I am bearish on the short term. Because if you look back to previous levels, 2022, 2021, looking at 2017, 2018, all those are bear activities kind of following the same type of 4-year trend that we have seen within the last 12 years. So going back, doing the analysis and understanding how trends work, we're seeing similar moves just like we seen in 2022. Whenever we seen that 365 days of just continuous pretty much dropping, you'd have good days, but you had more bad days than you did good. And you got to think, this is a Saturday. This ain't an actual trading day. The government shut down today. The House votes on it Monday. The Senate passed it on Friday. So I think the House is going to more than likely pass it on Monday. And then that could be a good opportunity to get a good long in some of these positions. But you got to think, with the volume coming like this on a weekend, what is there going to happen during the weekend that could cause Monday to have a negative catalyst, such as major drops in gold, silver, stocks, crypto, prediction markets, trading volume? All of them things kind of come into play whenever we see these big moves like we see today. 10 to 15%, losing $400 billion worth of market cap in just 24 hours. Those are pretty big numbers. Yeah, look at XRP here. XRP had a real big pump, over an 8% pump just within 1 minute. Like, imagine all of the longs that got liquidated. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out the channel a lot. Right now, we're trading around that $1.57. Kind of just watching Bitcoin here because I think we're seeing some more movement in Bitcoin here on the short term. Around $76,000 price, that is whenever we're going to see a big drop because Michael Saylor's position is now going to be in red with his average cost. With Michael Saylor finally being in the red, you know, that is something that can impact the market, you know, because he owns a lot of Bitcoin. He owns a lot of crypto in general. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash hasn't really done much either. If you look at it, it's down around 11% today. ICP, that was another one that I was paying very close attention to. It's down 13%. HBAR is down 10%. Everything right now is currently down quite a bit. A lot of meme coins are crashed. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Solana dropped all the way to $96. That was a major drop. Yeah, it was really a big drop. That is something that you really don't really see as those big drops. Dropping below that $100, that's probably where a lot of people had entries and exits. So you got to think those were cashed out. So you got to think, you know, as we drop lower, you know, a lot of the automation kind of steps in. Yeah, Sean, you know it is. XRP support would still be around that $1.51. It hit that $1.50 on that big drop. If you take a look at it on like a daily chart, if we zoom back out, you can see this is the lowest we've been on XRP ever since November of 2024. So if you've invested in XRP within just the last 365 days, you're currently in the red. So as you come down just a little bit further and we fill this gap, a lot of people think we're going to fill this gap too. If we fill this gap, we're more than likely going to see it come back down 70 cents. But do I think that we're going to drop below maybe that $1.28? And that would be this key level. You know, that would crash XRP. That would crash Bitcoin, Ethereum. That would have an Ethereum going back to roughly 1,300. That would have Bitcoin going roughly back to, I think it was 55,000. A lot of people do think Bitcoin's going back to that 55,000, so it is very possible. Whenever you're getting in and out of these moves, you got to think, you know, how much money is the average investor losing? Right now, big money is moving around. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think because Bitcoin right now is running. Yeah, getting in at 55 cent XRP is good. I know a lot of people who took profits that was holding XRP from the 2016s all the way to 2020 who took it around that $3.50 range. Yeah, I would love to see Bitcoin pump back up to the 120s, but I don't think it is going to right now unless we see something different. We have to have something that happens in the crypto market that's really going to give us that edge for us to be confident enough that it's going to go higher. Because right now, what I'm seeing is more than likely a rebound to around that 82,000. You know, we're going to see it come closer back to that 82,000. That's just a short-term move, guys. What's happening is the shorts and the longs are just being used as liquidity. You know, people's just getting liquidated left or right. Like, imagine being the guy that lost $222 million on Hyperliquid just about 20 minutes ago. You got to think he got liquidated for that much. So you got to think he was probably either using really high leverage or he was using very short leverage, and he's been holding that position for a long time and probably just now got liquidated. Yeah, I would like to see it go further. I really do. We do got the new Fed chair announcement. You do have tariffs. The government shutdown right now is just slowly impacting us. It's nothing too major. That's the thing. It's nothing too major. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. Also helps the community grow. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do come and check out BTCC with my link down below in the description. You get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit over 500 USDT. Extra bonuses up to $10,055 per user. Also up to 40% lower trading fees, so make sure you do come and check it out with the link down below. If you do sign up with any of the exchanges using my link down below, if it's BTCC, be it Unix, you guys can join my private Discord for free just by signing up with the exchange links down below in the description. If you do actually use the exchanges, you will get a lot more benefits, such as bonuses, trading rewards, and lower trading fees. So make sure you guys do come and check that out with the link down below in the description. And if you guys haven't, hit that like button, guys. It really does help out the channel. It helps it grow here. Also, thank you, Rob Scott, for subscribing to the channel. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, John. Yeah, a lot of people's been loading up this year. I really do think that. Yeah, I'm really hoping that Bitcoin will do good in the long term. I think it will. Right now, you got Solana trading at 102. It dropped all the way down to $96. Really, really big price action within just the last few days. I'm super bullish on it. You know, I think long-term crypto is going to be bullish, but I think short-term crypto is going to have a hard time really getting up there. Hopefully what we're seeing here is not going to be like an inverse head and shoulders. If we're seeing that inverse head and shoulders, that would also indicate that we're going closer back to that 80,000 to that 82,000. Yeah, a lot of people who FOMO'd in within the last 365 days are currently investments are red. You know, that's something that we see all the time. You know, people that FOMO in, panic sell, they end up regretting their decision eventually. But, you know, a lot of it is psychology. You got to be able to hold for the long term and the short term, no matter what exactly is going on inside the market. Yeah, one could definitely hope that the market could rise. I do think the market long term is going to do pretty good. I'm super bullish on it. I think within the next few years, I think Bitcoin is going to have a lot more regulations on it. I think, you know, meme coins are going to probably be a little bit more regulated, so you're not having as many coins rugging. That's the thing. That's a lot of people's getting in. You know, they're trading meme coins, trying to get that fast money like everybody else says. But nothing like that really plays out due to the fact that, you know, some coins will moon, some coins won't. You know, you have some investments that last longer in meme coins and crypto in general than some do. You just got to know which coins to really get into. That's probably the biggest factor here. And it kind of looks like, guys, XRP is getting back up to that $1.60. Did anybody pick up any shorts or longs during this big move? Oh, yeah, yeah. I do think institutions and governments coming into play could be a good thing, but also a bad thing. You got to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You got to really do the due diligence. That's why I always say if you do the due diligence, you're eventually going to make it. But it's for the people that don't do their due diligence. They hop in, they FOMO, they panic sell, or they don't understand investing in general. Crypto can lose a lot of money. It can also give you a bad taste of investing. That's why a lot of the times I do think that, being transparent and honest can be a good thing. Because you're not giving somebody false direction, even if they're not investing themselves. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is strictly just entertainment purposes only. I do technical analysis on stocks, cryptos. Silver, when it opens, I'm not really for sure. I mean, I think with how the market is moving, I honestly think that silver is going to do pretty good. But at the same time, I do expect a big pullback on it. You got the government shutdown that'll probably end on Monday when the House revotes on it. That's very true, Ryan. Yeah, I do think Bitcoin and XRP is really good for first-time investors in the crypto market. Wow, look at this. Dog Elon pumping a little bit. Had a nice little jump. Yeah, it looks like a lot of longs coming back in the game. The merge for the AI company for Elon Musk is the biggest thing that I worry about is why is he trying to merge the two when they don't really correlate? Yeah, silver will eventually settle though. Same with gold, same with crypto. Yeah, a lot of people have pretty big shorts and longs right now. The guy that got liquidated for 222 million in one single liquidation event is crazy. Right now, the crypto market cap is sitting around 2.62 trillion. No problem. Anytime, Mario. Yeah, you're going to have people that, invest on the upside and the downside. Trading, that's the biggest thing. It's not always just trade when it goes up. You got to be able to trade when it goes down. That's where a lot of people they really mess up because they think it only goes up. And then it's too far gone once it actually gets there. Yeah, Bitcoin going back to 50,000 is actually a realistic price, Don Lee. I mean, you got to think how much it already has fallen. And if you take a look at previous trends, I mean, going back to 50,000 really wouldn't even take that much. So currently we're around that 78,000. Going back to 50,000 would be roughly right around 36%. We've already dropped way more than 36%. We've dropped 41% basically in 118 days. So dropping another 30% on Bitcoin wouldn't be too much. We've seen this happen previously in the past. Another 7 to 10 days, exactly like how we're doing today, we would be around that $50,000 position that people are saying. I do think getting closer to that 76,000 is key. Dropping below to that 74 is going to be the biggest thing. Going down to that 65,000 is going to be the next big support on Bitcoin. 65,000 is probably going to be kind of like that consolidation phase. We'll see probably the back and forth selling pressure just like we did between 80 to 95,000 that we did for probably 3 or 4 months now. Yeah, I would hope that we're priced in already on this drop that we have seen. Yeah, XRP Huckleberry, I do trade futures. I do trade futures. Use leverage. Because a lot of the times, people that use leverage and future trade is trading very short term. It all depends on what kind of trader they are. I think there's more money on the downside than they are the upside. On the upside, you get good money on the spot, but you don't get money on the consolidation phase. You know, those are the waiting games. For spot to go up, it's a waiting game. But for futures trading, leverage, you know, it's very short term. You can trade either direction. And if you're actually trading and learn how to, you know, use analysis, trend analysis, fundamental analysis, catalyst analysis, all that stuff will benefit you in the long term. Yeah, Bitcoin has already dropped below 76K. Bitcoin hit $75,651. Ross Mitchell, I have my own indicator that I use. See, the indicators are multiple indicators built all into one. So you can come in here anytime and be able to adjust it. You know, we use the MACD. We can auto support resistance. We can do auto trend lines, trend breaks like you see on the screen, Fibonacci extensions. You can use pretty much anything on here. It has multiple indicators on it. To be able to get access to the indicator, all you got to do is sign up for one of the exchange links down below in the description, like BTCC, BitUnix. Once you sign up, all you do is join the free Discord, and then just let me know that you signed up with BTCC or BitUnix, and I'll be able to grant you access to the private Discord and the TradingView indicator. But if you don't sign up with like any of the links or anything like that, you'd have to pay a monthly subscription for it. I know a lot of people who use their 401ks for cryptos. I actually think it's a very smart idea for the people that's wanting to see crypto succeed in the long term. Because if you want it to succeed in the long term, that's probably the biggest thing. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is just entertainment purposes only. Make sure you do your due diligence before ever investing in any stock or crypto in the crypto market. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe down below. Yeah, it is. I don't think it's too bad, Anthony. So, love, yeah, we hit that back in April of 2025. We're currently almost at a 365-day low. Once we hit that 365-day low, that's whenever we'll see more than likely the cross. Whenever we see that cross fully come back down, we're more than likely going to see Bitcoin come down to that $65,000 range. That's going to be the key factor, is getting it below from where it is today. Because you got to think, within the $85,000 to that $90,000 to almost $100,000 range, we consolidated there for a very long time. It was not something that happened, you know, pretty easy. Like, it took time. That's the thing. It took time. I do think it's going to go below 75K, but on the short term, we're more than likely going to eventually see the bounce. You're going to see it kind of bounce back up, but that is to be expected because they're basically just chasing liquidations right now. They're liquidity hunting. That's something we see all the time. You can see a lot of the cryptos are now out of the negative 10%. Some are, you know, recovering more than others. But you got to think, you know, a lot of times whenever this does that, what it is, they really are chasing liquidity. The big drops like this, the big exchanges sending out as many alerts as it does, that gets every investor pretty much looking at their portfolios. And they're either buying more, that they start throwing in longs, shorts, futures trades, all kinds of stuff. So there is some good moves coming, I think, within the crypto market. You just got to be able to trade the market on the ups, the consolidation phases, and the bear markets. You got to be able to trade each market. If you don't trade each market, you're going to be, in the long run, holding for a long time. Yeah, I'm not expecting too big of a bounce. That's the thing. The biggest bounce I think we'll see is probably like 5-6%. That would be putting us right back to 82,000. I think 82,000 is going to be the second target. The first target is roughly right around that $80,434. But on Bitcoin, we do got to break above this 78.3 though. XRP is doing really well. That's why I think XRP is going to probably head back to that 170, and that's going to be on the short term. Stellar Lumens following the XRP pattern, kind of breaking out of the trend away from the Bitcoin dominance. But if we see Bitcoin pump, I think a lot of these altcoins will have pretty big moves behind them, liquidating some of the shorts. That was opened up too late. Because you got to think, over 408,000 traders have been liquidated. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do y'all think that we're going to see some bull activity or bearish activity? Yeah, getting above 80K wouldn't really take much. I think getting to 80K would only be, like 2%. So a 2% move is like actually pretty easy to come by. Just because of the fact that, if you take a look at XRP, within 1 minute, our wick was 5% in 1 minute on XRP, which is huge. That is pretty big moves. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I'm still super bullish long term, but short term, guys, you got to understand, there's movement on the upside and downside just depending on time of the day, also the time of the year. A lot of the times, Q1 is actually pretty bearish for us. Yeah, Michael Saylor, his average cost, we're right there. He's only up like 2%. Yeah, he's up 2.64%. So whenever you take a look at his tracker or whatever, he's up around 1.4 billion US dollars. Currently up around 2.6%. His average cost per Bitcoin is 76,000. So with his average cost being so high, with the drop that we've had, he is getting to the point where he is going to be pretty much negative, because his cost basis is 76,000. For the first time since October of 2023, he is in the red. So his average cost of Bitcoin, he is currently now in a negative position. But he does hold around 712,000 Bitcoin, which is a lot. He's had 96 purchase events just within all time. If you take a look at CoinGlass, you can see that there's been over $1 billion liquidated in the last hour. 408,000 traders have been liquidated in the last 24 hours. 24 hours liquidations are $2.4 billion worth of longs. That is a pretty big number here. Just within longs, $2.4 billion. Yeah, I'm hoping with the government shutdown ending, we'll probably see a little bit of a pump behind that. That would be best case scenario. But yeah, like you guys can see right now, we're not really moving as much. Volume has slowed down. So volume on like exchanges have slowed down quite a bit. If you guys do want to get access to the trading view indicator you see on the screen, if you want to join the private Discord, you can join the Discord just by using the free Discord link down below. Whenever you join that, sign up with BTCC or BitUnix with the link down below in the description. Whenever you sign up with one of the exchange links, you will get access to the private Discord and the private trading view indicator for free just for joining under my link. Just got to make sure that you do have my referral code on there. That is my referral code. You can come back to this after. If you guys have any issues or questions, you can contact me on Discord. I'm always pretty much active on Discord. I'm on there all throughout the day. You guys can join with the free link down below in the description, or you can join the private by signing up with one of the links and joining that way. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. I just want to thank every one of y'all for tuning in and watching today. It's been a really great session, and hopefully we see this Bitcoin pump, and hopefully we get close back to that 82,000 Bitcoin with XRP getting closer to that $1.70. I will be going live every single day again, so make sure you guys do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. I do post daily on X, TikTok,